What if I told you that the key to wealth isn't visualizing endless checks or repeating financial mantras? What if the energy blocking your prosperity lies not in the external world, but in something seemingly unrelated like an unforgiving wound? You've been hurt, you've been let down, you've felt betrayed, abandoned, humiliated. We know this, but what perhaps no one has told you is that every unresolved emotion becomes an energetic void, a vibrational barrier that stops the flow of life for you. And therein lies the secret that few dare to speak openly. Forgiveness is a spiritual technology, a silent alchemy that can break the invisible chains that separate us from prosperity. We're not talking about superficial forgiveness that says, "I'm over it," while the heart continues to bleed. We're talking about true forgiveness that comes from the soul and penetrates layers of ego, pain, and memory. We're talking about the esoteric act of letting go of another in order to free yourself. Because every time you hold on to resentment, you're using life energy, your chi, your prana, your creative fire, to feed a version of the past. And as this happens, the present withers, and the future lags behind. This video isn't a moralizing lecture or a cheap self-help lesson. It's an esoteric revelation about the relationship between forgiveness, vibration, and manifestation. You'll discover why true forgiveness instantly raises your frequency, opens portals of synchronicity, and connects you to reality fields where the impossible becomes achievable. We'll also explore how ancient spiritual traditions, from Egyptian mysteries to Hermetic principles, already knew that pent-up emotions are a form of invisible slavery, and how consciously letting go of another gives you back the power to shape your destiny. In this video, you'll understand why forgiveness is not a moral act, but a vibrational technology. How resentment disrupts the frequency of abundance. What role does the heart play as a quantum portal of energetic opening? And how can you activate forgiveness as a personal ritual of liberation and rebirth? So, if you've ever wondered why, despite hard work, meditation, visualization, or resolutions, prosperity doesn't flow as it should, this video could be the message your soul has been waiting for. Because yes, it is possible to be incredibly rich, but first you have to let go. And in this silent act, the magic begins. The word forgiveness has been so mistreated by culture and religion that it has lost its true esoteric meaning. Today, it smacks of submission, weakness, and letting go of the unforgivable. But in ancient wisdom schools, forgiveness was not a favor, but a sacred practice of energetic liberation, a vibrational operation that could cut the invisible bonds that bind us to suffering and lack. In ancient Egypt, heart energy was the center of soul evaluation. After death, the soul was brought to the court of Osiris, and the deceased's heart was weighed against a feather on Mahet's scales. Do you know what was needed to pass into the other world? A free heart, not from a lack of experience, but from the absence of resentment. In other words, only those who had forgiven could transcend. This image is not a poetic metaphor. It is a profound symbol. Resentment, hatred, guilt, all of this weighs you down. It weighs you down energetically, and above all, it binds you. You are connected to the person or situation you haven't forgiven through a vibrational connection. This drains your energy day after day, year after year. The Toltec sages said that every unresolved emotion becomes a stolen ring of power. If you don't forgive, a portion of your energy remains trapped in that event. It's not meant symbolically, but literally. This energy remains frozen and cannot be used to create, manifest, value, or heal anything. In Hinduism, the concept of samskara, unprocessed emotional impressions, is closely linked to karma. What you don't forgive, you repeat. What you don't let go of shapes you. And what you don't do, you project again and again until you overcome it. Even in early Christianity, before the institutional distortions, Jesus spoke of forgiveness not out of compassion for others, but as a form of personal redemption. When he taught, he forgave 70 times 7. He said it not as a burden, but as a formula for inner purification. Because repeated, conscious, and liberating forgiveness frees your soul from the past. It opens the field of the past and connects it with the pure present, in which you can create new things with abundance. And in the Buddhist tradition, forgiveness is not an ethical obligation, but a strategy for liberation from suffering. The Buddha said that turning away from disgust is like taking poison and expecting the other person's death. From this perspective, forgiveness is neither forgetting nor justifying, but rather stopping the poisoning of one's own energy field. These traditions, separated geographically and chronologically, agree on one essential point. Forgiveness is not a moral act, but an energetic process. An act that doesn't change the past, but rather frees your future. Let us now delve into the heart of the mystery. What does forgiveness have to do with fulfillment? Why can letting go of an emotion from the past release a material manifestation in the present? To understand this, we must go beyond psychology and delve into the human energy map. Imagine you are a river, not a person, not a body, but a conduit of universal flow. Through this river flow life energy, inspiration, health, opportunities, money, love, and creativity. This river doesn't need to ask anyone's permission to flow. It's in its nature. But every time you feel unresolved anger, every time you carry an unhealed wound, every time you refuse to forgive someone, an energetic stone falls into your channel, an invisible but real obstacle. Whether you smiled or pretended everything was fine, the water knows, your river knows, and the universe knows too. Abundance is not a moral issue, but a frequency. And this frequency requires a clean, harmonious, open vibrational state. Not perfect, but free enough to allow the flow. Those who don't forgive resist, hold back, tense up, and anchor themselves. And universal energy, intelligent and vibrant, doesn't flow through constricted channels. It flows to those who are available, receptive, and free. And what is resentment but a form of disguised attachment? An energetic shackle that links your present to a past event. It's like trying to plant flowers in a land of rubble. You may have the best seed, but the soil is full of memories, judgments, and stagnant emotions. That's why forgiveness is so powerful, because it cleanses the energy field. And when the field is cleansed, matter responds. It's not magic, but consistency. Imagine someone trying to attract wealth. Visualize, meditate, and repeat affirmations like, I am wealthy. But deep down, he harbors resentment toward his abandoned father, his former partner, and himself. These emotions are dense frequencies that create incoherence in his field. Then the universe hears a divided order. Part of him says, give me more. And another part says, I'm still at war. The result? Nothing flows. And when something arrives, it is lost. Because the dominant frequency is not that of reception, but that of resistance. Now we observe the opposite. A person who has done the deep work of forgiveness, who has cried when he should have cried, who has let go not out of weakness, but out of sovereignty. This person vibrates differently. They walk differently. Their field is open, expansive, magnetic. And then the universe, which neither rewards nor punishes, reflects and responds. Opportunities arise. Doors open. People arrive. Because abundance requires no effort. It only needs space. And do you know the quickest way to open this space? Forgiveness. Not as a noble act, but as a radical act of self-love. An act that says, I no longer want to waste my energy on this burden. I prefer to use it to create. Forgiving doesn't mean that what happened was good. It means that I don't allow it to continue to influence my vibration. In that moment, something changes. The chaos dissolves, and what was trapped arrives. We already know that forgiveness is not just an ethical or emotional decision, but a vibrational process that opens the inner flow channel. But there is a deeper level we need to explore: forgiveness as a quantum activator. A tool that not only lets go of the past, but also reprograms the reality you project into the future. To understand this, let's return to a fundamental yet revolutionary principle of metaphysics. Reality is not something fixed that happens outside of you, but rather a field of possibilities that responds to your inner vibration. Everything you experience, people, situations, recurring patterns, is an expression of your dominant frequency. When an irreconcilable emotion takes root in your field, it becomes a vibrational anchor point. It doesn't just burden you, it programs you. For example, If you haven't forgiven someone who cheated on you for years, this resentment not only drains you emotionally, but also creates the unconscious expectation of being cheated on again. This expectation sends signals to the quantum field like an energetic antenna. And like a good mirror, the field reflects experiences that align with these emissions. The result? Repetition. You see the same pattern in different people. Let's say the same thing happens to me again, but it's not a coincidence. It's an unresolved vibration. That's why forgiveness is so important. Not only cleanse your heart, but also reset your quantum emission. Change the code you use to interact with reality. And here's an important point. Forgiving is not forgetting. That's a myth. You don't have to revive the memory of what happened. You have to transform the emotional charge that memory contains. When you can remember without being hurt, without reacting, without reliving the pain, you have forgiven. And when you do, the field senses it. The frequency changes. The password changes. And with it, the universe's response. Forgiveness also resolves a profound paradox. The paradox of earning. Many people desire wealth, but deep down they feel they don't deserve it. Why? Because they carry unresolved feelings of guilt. Not only blaming others, but also blaming yourself. Past mistakes, bad decisions, self-betrayal. And if you don't forgive them, how can you possibly open yourself up to them? You're internally sabotaging yourself. You'll think, I can't have more because I haven't resolved what came before. So forgiveness isn't just for others. It's primarily for you. And that's the hardest part. Because forgiving yourself means facing your dark sides, your mistakes, and your decisions head-on, without punishment, but with responsibility. And that was part of my process. I have learned. I am freeing myself. Only then can a new narrative be activated. One in which you are neither victim nor perpetrator nor eternal penitent, but the conscious creator who accepts your power and chooses to set you free. When that happens, something inside you breaks. Your heart breaks. And through this grid, light penetrates. And this light, previously blocked by deep memories, begins to manifest in the form of opportunities, people, synchronicities, and even miracles. For where judgment once reigned, acceptance now reigns. And where there once was resentment, there is now space. And space is the womb in which abundance arises. So don't underestimate it. Forgiveness is not a passive gesture. It is a revolutionary act of quantum creation. It tells the universe, I am ready to receive the new because I have already let go of the old. Now that you understand the quantum and energetic power of forgiveness, the big question is, how do I apply it in everyday life? Knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to practice it, because forgiveness isn't an event. It's a decision that's renewed daily, sometimes hourly. And like any spiritual power, forgiveness must be embodied, ritualized, and lived. Here are 5 profound and concrete ways to integrate this wisdom into your daily life. First, write down what you can't say. Unspoken words become encapsulated in the energy body. If there's something you can't forgive, write an unfiltered letter. You don't have to deliver it. This letter is an alchemical act between you and the universe. Express everything. Radio, grief, frustration. Cry if necessary. And when you feel like all is lost, end the conversation with a liberating sentence. I liberate you and I liberate myself. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. Then burn it, bury it, or throw it in the water. Do it as if you were letting go of an invisible weight. Second, integrate forgiveness into your daily spiritual practice. Make forgiveness a part of your energetic routine, just as you meditate, affirm, or visualize. Repeat this internally every night before bed. I forgive everything that tried to rob me of my peace today. I forgive my judgment, my fear, my reaction. I forgive myself for everything I cannot yet heal. This simple exercise cleanses your field before dreaming and prepares your vibration for reception. Third, recognize the wound behind the judgment. Every time you can't forgive someone, ask yourself, what hurt me? What need wasn't met? True forgiveness begins when you understand that behind every judgment lies a wound, and behind every wound lies an opportunity for better integration. Fourth, Avoid speaking ill of unforgiving people. Words create reality, and every time you speak resentfully about someone, you open an energetic connection to that person. You nourish the connection to their life force. If you can't speak well, remain silent. Not out of cowardice, but out of power, because you know your vibration is too valuable to use for something you haven't yet built. Fifth, use forgiveness as a tool for manifestation. Try this powerful exercise. Before you ask the universe for something new, ask yourself, who do I have to forgive before I receive this? Because sometimes life doesn't wait for you to act, but for you to let go. And when you do, paths that seemed closed open as if by magic. Forgiveness is an art, and like any art, it requires practice, dedication, and honesty. There are no infallible formulas, but one constant truth. Those who truly forgive become carefree, and those who are carefree fly. And those who fly reach higher and further. Forgiveness seems like a simple act, 2 words, 1 decision. But what happens on the unseen planes when you choose to let go is of a magnitude only the soul can comprehend. You have been poorly taught. They told you that forgiving means forgetting, that forgiving means justifying. Forgiving means remembering everything and still letting it go. It means facing the wound and deciding that it doesn't define you. It means understanding that you are not what you were made to be. You are what you want to be now. And in this profound, vibrant, radical decision lies the seed of abundance. For no one can emerge from a broken soul. No one can attract prosperity if they continue to live in the language of punishment, judgment, and resentment. Not because the universe prevents it, but because the frequency simply isn't right. Abundance is like a delicate dance. It requires space, openness, and fluidity. And forgiveness is the movement that cleanses the soil of the soul, clears the energetic landscape, and tunes its frequency to possibilities. Those who forgive inevitably begin to receive, not because they did something right, but because they have stopped resisting. Today, you can make a decision that requires no external conditions. It doesn't require an apology from the other person. It doesn't require fairness in life. All you have to do is say it. From a position of strength, I choose to let go of what binds me. I choose to let go of what burdens me. I choose to open myself to what deserves to enter. And if this decision is true, felt, and sustainable, the quantum field registers it and responds. You will initially notice subtle changes, an unexpected conversation, an opportunity, an idea, and as you continue to let go and clean up, these changes will expand. Because abundance is not a reward. It is a reflection of how much space you have to receive. And forgiveness is the greatest release you can give. Don't wait any longer. Abundance is ready. It's just asking for it. Are you ready to let go of the past to allow the future to come? If this message resonated with you, it's likely that a part of you is already ready to let go of what doesn't belong to you. Share this knowledge. Subscribe to the channel to continue discovering spiritual tools that transform. Leave a like if something was ignited within you today. Share this video with someone who doesn't yet know that their key to prosperity lies in a silent yet powerful act. Because yes, forgiveness will make you incredibly rich. For those who free themselves internally will receive unlimited happiness externally. And this is perhaps the highest alchemy of the soul.